Khan here for Seconds Out with one and only Johnny Nelson. Johnny, we just witnessed Fraser Clark go the distance against Marius Vac. What's your assessment of his performance?
I'm glad he got the 10 rounds in. The focus was him getting the rounds under his belt. I know he's upset about the Wardley situation, and I always said it's sometimes good to lose a battle to win it before and win a war. And the point was him getting the rounds under his belt. The one thing you can't buy, borrow, pretend to have is what Brendan said, is experience. And so he's had the experience now of doing the 10 rounds and getting them through, get more experience at doing it. And I'm not saying he against Wardley wouldn't go his way. What I'm saying is Wardley has the experience of doing the rounds. So Wardley and his handlers, so let's get this down before he gets the experience. Fraser's handler said, no, we want his experience first of doing the rounds. It wasn't about the ability of who would beat who. And that's the case. And the more Fraser gets the experience of getting the rounds under his belt, the less chance there is of being able to predict the outcome of how the fight would go.
Look, that Wardley fight obviously cast a bit of a shadow over everything. What's your position on if the two were to meet next, and what do you think the boxing public's position is on if they were to meet next as well?
That's the whole. What my point is this: Fraser Clark had not gone past 4-6 rounds. Fabio had, and so therefore, again, if you've not boxed. What happens is when you do the 10 rounds, when you're doing 12 rounds, what happens is between 6 and maybe 5 and 8, you get tired. It's when you get your second wind. Most fighters panic if you've not experienced before, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm tired, I can't do it." You've got to get to your second wind. You've got to get used to doing it. So Fraser had to go through that baptism of fire with a tough opponent in Vac. He needed that, and I'm glad he didn't stop fighting. It would have been great. It would have been a great win. But still, what would he have learned? He still wouldn't have learned to go the distance. So to me, that sets it up well for him and Wardley. And if he gets another one in before then, so be it. But he now knows what it's like. He now knows what he's got to do, what he's got to pace himself with. So if the fight happens next or not, I think that this is what Fraser needed before that fight was ever to happen.
Caroline Dubois, superstar.
Oh, badass, absolute badass. She's on fire, and to say she had the least experience out of the two, but what she did was her enthusiasm, her youth, her speed, her power, her fire was so dangerous, and it was a good win. Remember, opponent was she was number 6 with the WBO, WBA, number 2 with the WBC, number 3 with the IBF. Caroline's put herself right up there in the top 10 rankings, but by getting the win in the fashion she did it as well.
Look, she's and Shane have called out the likes of Michaela Mayer. Does her inexperience, does her ability overlap her inexperience of maybe to have the confidence to say, look, she can have that fight next and win that fight?
This is one of those occasions, again, we go back to the top of the bill. She needs the experience over the longer rounds, and that's what she needs to get comfortable with. Michaela Mayer will conveniently ignore him, which she kind of should do. She should look forward instead of looking backward, and that's what Caroline's doing. She's looking forward. So if she shouts her name out now, she might get it in 12 months' time. That's how you set these things up. It's like cooking, you know what I mean? You got to wait. So I understand it, but Caroline needs the experience to at least showcase her talents fairly, knowing that she can do the rounds.
Onto the cruiserweights, Richard Urakpo has been mandated to fight Jai Opetaia. Jai Opetaia coming off a serious injury, but this sounds like maybe a right time if the fight is made for Richard if he's going to win the world title.
There's never a right time, if you've had an injury, you're out, and it's over. That once you're fighting, you're capable. So you can't say I had an injury, I'm out. So when it's time, it's time. Richard Urakpo, he's been waiting for too long now. He's been one fight away. Now's his time. Now's his time to get a shot for the world title, and so be it. And I think his talents will shine through. I think everything's falling into place for him now. So why not?
I can't wrap my head around how someone like Tyson Fury, the WBC heavyweight champion, is saying he's struggling to find an opponent.
Well, you know what? I don't think it really needs explaining anymore, does it? Tyson Fury is saying that. The only reason why Tyson Fury is struggling to find an opponent is because of Tyson Fury. So he needs to have a word with himself. There ain't nobody else that's complaining about that. Pricing yourself out of a fight, making demands that don't suit anybody else. What do you expect? So That's the Tyson Fury problem. It's nobody else's problem.
Yeah, said that he's got an offer on the table now, a hybrid offer of a fight against John Jones or Francis Ngannou. I imagine that's some sort of MMA rule slash.
I'm struggling. I might be one of the first, and it might sound like I'm a hater, but I'm struggling to believe anything he says. I just am. You know, how many times have we got excited about this stuff and it falls through? So until it's signed, sealed, and delivered, I don't care what he says. Listen to me. Tyson Fury has proved he's the best fighter in the world. Tyson Fury, again, I think he beats Usyk. It sounds like Tyson Fury don't believe he beats Usyk. So all the demands and all the negotiating, all the hustling, might be to squeeze out as much as you possibly can financially. And I rate that. Any fighter getting paid as much as you possibly can, I rate it. But I'm not going to be one of these fools that's going to blow smoke up his ass and play that game. I see through it. You can fight, you know, and you deserve to get the lion's share. But I'm not buying that bullshit. You know what I mean? The public might and they might fall for it. I'm not buying it, man. So if you're going to fight, you're going to fight. So when you're saying there's nobody out there to fight you, there's a lot of people out there that want to fight you. It's a case of if they fit your kind of shoes, you know, they fit the bill.
A couple of things for me. Look, it seems like, well, Dillian kind of says there's no real serious offer on the table, but Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte is the likely opponent before Anthony Joshua takes on Deontay Wilder at the end of the year. Do you feel that's a good fight and the right fight for the two fighters?
For Deontay Wilder and
Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte.
Yeah, I think it's a good fight. I think that's a really good fight for both fighters. I think that's a realistic fight and a common sense fight for both fighters at this stage. Next. And again, it's show business, and will the business take over the show? We don't know. But I think it's a good fight, totally agree.
Can Dillian Whyte upset the apple cart and get the victory, considering the fluctuation Anthony Joshua has had in terms of losses, mentality questions, and then change of trainer too?
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. I think, look, going on past performances of both fighters, he's seen vulnerabilities more than one occasion. Both fighters have history. Both fighters have improved. Both fighters have shown chinks. So for them two to fight each other makes sense. I think it's not a done deal. He'll definitely beat him, and he'll definitely beat him. It's a good fight all round. You don't know who's improved and who's depreciated the most.
Now, we put a poll out on Seconds Out. 63,000 votes so far. Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. What do you think the split was?
I'm struggling, man. I think they've gone Spence.
50-50.
50.
No, like 63,000 people can't split.
I agree with you because the beginning of the week I'm saying Crawford, man. Crawford's got this. I've switched already. And if you ask me who wins, I have no idea. You know, and again, you know, I love our sport, and our sport has conjured up some amazing historical fights. You've got two guys in these two that can fight, that can box, that can punch, that really believe they're top dog. And if you know your boxing, you've seen the likes of Sugar Ray Leonard against Wilfred Benitez. You know, and both fights could box and bang. Sugar Ray Leonard against Thomas Hearns. You know, this was a class fight. This can be one of those classic kind of fights because you've got two guys that are actually not willing to be the B-side, that can actually box and bang. You know, you don't realise it's not very often that happens. You might get a good bang against a good boxer, and it doesn't live up to expectations. But this fight, brilliant. I think it's a really good fight to see.
Thanks for Seconds Out, sir. We'll appreciate it. Cheers.
Thanks,